Kira Young.
Hey, Swami. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We are really excited. Special guest who is a big talent, big singing talent, big music talent. I've been a fan of hers for a long time, starting with Eulalie and now with the Pura Fe Trio. Please welcome Pura Fe.
Hi. How are you?
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Wonderful. Are you calling us from North Carolina?
I am. I'm calling you from home.
Yeah. So for those of the listeners who don't know who you are, introduce yourself how you would meeting somebody in Indian country.
Okay. I'm Pura Fe, and I'm from North Carolina, and I'm from the Tuscarora Nation. Actually, I was born and raised in New York City with my family, and they actually come from down this way, and I just moved on back this way, and I'm very involved in my community. And I sing, and I travel all over the world, and I've been doing this since I was pretty young, and I'm 55 now, so anyway, that's enough, I guess.
Well, I've been a big fan of yours for a long time. I have told you before where my people are from, basically the Gulf region. So on my mom and dad's side, and on my mom's side is Scotch-Irish, Scottish, and Choctaw, Mississippi and Louisiana Choctaw. And on my dad's side, his dad was adopted, so we're always finding out new things all the time about my dad's side of the family. And we had discussed one time before that he did a DNA test, and he found out that we have Basque blood in us.
Yep.
So that's a new thing to discover, and it's wonderful. I really relate to the stuff that I see you sharing out there about living at home again and being by the river and being a river person. Because I live by a creek, and so I'm really connected to the tides of the water and the life that living by water brings. It's like, living in a bird sanctuary or animal sanctuary, because they all come for the water.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, yeah. So the first time I saw you was probably, I think it was 1999, and it was out in Oakland, California. And you were with Eulalie, and you were singing, for the United Indian Nations 25th anniversary. And I was just totally blown away. I've been a fan ever since, like a big fan ever since. And I had no idea what I was doing there, but we actually the first solo drum that I sang with Tate Sapa was opening for you. So I said, wow, now I have something to aspire to, because the performance was breathtaking. It was amazing. The harmonies that the three of you, just harmonies that touch your soul kind of harmonies. So, and I love the music that you're doing now as well. I guess it would be classified as bluegrass or blues or jazz or all of the above. Would you say that the Pura Fe Trio is that sort of genre?
Yeah, it's bluesy. It's kind of folky. And it's native as well. It's just, and that was the Pura Fe Trio. Now they've got me on something new. So it's, in terms of Europe, and I have so many projects. There's that, and there's also the Deer Clan Singers. So it's just, there's several. And then the Eulalie project. Deer Clan Singers is some bunch of us from the Prospect Longhouse, and we formed a group some years ago. And Jennifer is part of that, my cousin, who's part of Eulalie. And we're all Deer Clan, so we all sing together. We also sing in harmony which is something that's strong among the cultures and the Native people in the Carolinas, especially on the East Coast. So anyway, so it's we're putting together a canoe album.
I love it. And I saw you put a lot of stuff up about the Two Row Wampum campaign. Is that going to be a yearly thing, or is that going to be annual, or was that just a special thing?
I don't think it's just a yearly thing. I think it's an ongoing, all year round thing every year. Oh. So they're continually. I mean, that was the beginning, and maybe they will have one big pull every year. I'm not sure, but they've been pulling on several rivers. They're going wherever the fracking is, the hydro-fracking and so forth. In terms of the Two Row Wampum paddlers, they're all involved with all that, the water and the rivers and the hydro-fracking. And so it's very, Haudenosaunee, Onondaga is really instrumental in working with this. And of course, they're also very tied into the whole United Nations permanent, indigenous forums. So all of this networking in terms of, I'm working with just everybody, everything they can to just strengthen, the whole environmental causes of, anyway. So they're
and protecting the water.
Protecting the water, and dismantling. They're trying to find ways to work even with politicians to change policy, to change. It's very smart, I think. I was very impressed. Yeah. And
there's a lot of river walks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of river walks as well that are going on. I know there's a Mississippi River Walk. And do you know, are you involved in that, or do you know of other walks?
I'm a good friend of Sharon Day's, and she's very, that's her life right there, the River Walk. And so, and then there's one of our women from actually Virginia went and joined her recently, and I think eventually more of our women down here will probably join up with them. And actually, they're thinking of doing a walk somewhere in between Virginia and Carolina. They're thinking about which rivers to go on. But I mean, we're involved. We're notified, and I guess we need to take action. But
Well, I would do a Shenandoah or a Potomac River walk, because I live right in between those two rivers. So, and my creek comes right off the Potomac. So, that would be my local river walk. I would do that.
Yeah,
if I could get off work.
That would be a good one. They're all good. Yeah. That was Well, I'll put you in touch with this one woman. Her name is Diane Stevenson. Yeah. She's in Virginia. You should connect with her.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we'll what we'll also do is on my Facebook page underneath the link to the show today, we'll put a bunch of other links, all the things that we're talking about, everything that we've talked about. We'll put links on there so people can check it out.
Okay.
Yeah. So another thing that I really liked what I saw that you were sharing is about the agricultural traditions of southeastern natives. Because we're really highly involved in trying to create a sustainable living. We're way out in the woods, and we're growing our own food and paying the earth for internet connection and for satellite internet. And but I don't know what it is. There's something about the land. When you start digging in it, it tells you secrets. So you uncover things. And I've been digging up rocks and I think this whole valley or this whole ridge that I live on, I think it was all at one time a river, because even in all the dry land in between these two, this river and this creek, it's all rock.
Mhm.
It's all river rock.
Mhm.
So because I've been trying to create this big garden, I've been digging up all this river rock, and I just use it to line my beds, to outline my beds, because there's so much of it that you have to use it for something.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And we have a Three Sisters garden going, which is one of those long-time native wisdom about gardening, which is the corn and the beans and the squash. They all pull up the nutrients in the soil that the other plant needs. And when you eat those three things together, it forms a complete protein. So we've known how to live in balance for a long time. So any way we can get closer to that is better. It's better. And I'm glad that I can my son is 9 years old. I'm glad I can raise him in an environment where he can be with the natural world and discover new things every day. Go down to the creek and discover that there's shells down there from like shellfish, like you were sharing that too, about the different shells and can you tell us a little bit about those shells, because I know there's a deeper meaning about those river shells that you were sharing.
Well, I was just taking pictures. Well, so many of the people at home are working with shells, and cutting them, tripling them, making them into beads, and specifically for wampum belts and jewelry and all kinds of things. And so I noticed that a lot of the quahog shells, clam shells here in our rivers, a lot of them they have a pinker or a redder tone to them. But there are where they're very dark as well, as someone showed me. But I noticed that a good amount of them are pink or redder, and you don't really find that in the north. They're all very purple.
Right.
More of a bluer. But I think it's changed over time. I think we had more healthier. The waters were healthier. So I'm not sure what it's due to, but
I'm not either.
I mean, I collect a lot of shells down here. It's like I'm creating shell dresses, and which is traditional pre-contact. But anyway, it's just I like to create, and I work with my hands all the time. I'm always making stuff, regalia for everybody. And that's where I went with it. So I'm weaving and shelling. But anyway, so I just posted that just to show the folks that are working.
The difference.
Yeah. Just an
I
observation.
need to learn more about. I need to learn more regalia making. I'm behind in my skills. I used to do more as a child, but now it's just life, just trying to get dinner on the table and food in the garden. But I would like to probably, before I lose my, when you get older, your eyes, and you need your little glasses, and you got your magnifying glass, and you're trying to bead, and so while I still have eyes, I should get on that, make something. Yeah. So, what else can we talk about with you recently took a trip to France. Were you traveling for music?
Yes, I was.
Did you make some recordings there?
I did. I worked with 2 different projects. The first one was with a band named Anti-Quarks. They're a French band. They're very accomplished musicians and unusual music.
Mm-hmm.
And so I joined them, recorded a couple of songs with them, and then we did a big concert. It was a lot of fun. And then after that, I went in further south to Gignac, near Montpellier, and I went there and recorded my new album with new musicians that I just met then. So we did some songs together. We did a whole album. It was very nice. Well, the funniest part of it was because none of them are native, and I'm notorious for grabbing everybody and making them sing in the studio. I love doing that. And so I grabbed these guys and had them sing, and they were singing this song, which is like an anthem at home. And it's called My People, My Land. And they were singing it, and it was like, hey, how my head is. And they sang it like, and it sounded like a German beer drinking song. So it was like definitely a different, it was funny. But anyway.
Yeah, that is funny. It reminds me of the first time I got a women's powwow drum going in Pennsylvania, and you know how everybody in the East is mixed, so it's not like when you get a drum going, it's not quite like, you know, some bigger reservations where everybody sang for a long time. But I remember one of the women who was singing with us, she was like, wow, she goes, we really sound like Indians.
Oh, wow.
We don't sound like some of the, because she hadn't, she hadn't got a chance to really sing before, and some of the stuff she had heard, like some of the powwows in Pennsylvania and stuff are pretty weird. And so that's the ones that she had gone to, and sometimes the women's drums can sound like a little more opera even than, a regular women's drum. Yeah. So she said, wow, we really sound like Indians. Yeah. So, another thing I wanted to talk to you about was you, when you went to France, you ate the bread there and you had no problems. Then you got back to America and you had problems again, because I'm gluten intolerant. It crippled me. It totally messed me up. I had a lot of health problems from it and didn't even know it. Went to doctor after doctor after doctor. And so I'm constantly studying about this, because we're just learning about, how our food, the differences in our food is affecting our health. And so I just wanted to talk to you more about that, about what you think it is, why it didn't happen over there and it happened here, and what are your thoughts?
Just in reading and talking to different people, it seems like there are only certain countries like the U.S. that have really endorsed the whole GMO, food, and all our produce is genetically modified. All of it, just about all of it, except for what's organic. And and I really think it's that, because when you start thinking about when you started introducing that, that's pretty much when a load of people started having all these effects.
Reacting.
Yeah. And so France they're not a country that went in on this, and even including the produce that is shipped to these countries that don't want GMO. Right. The States has a completely different. I don't even know how to talk right now. They don't ship them
it's
that.
A completely different
they get is not that, right? They're getting clean food, and we're getting GMO food. Yeah. So when I eat, and you can taste the difference when you eat the food in other countries. It just tastes different, tastes better. Yeah. So I ate, well over there, and And they were talking about even there that they're having those problems as well. And they said that it didn't matter what class you came from, that the food quality on the table was the same all the way around, and that's even changing now.
Right.
So I think that we're really exposed to just poisonous, toxic food all around here. And and it's so, and we all know how expensive it is to shop organic food. It's just it's really expensive.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people are taking advantage of growing their own. There's a lot, I know so many people now collecting beautiful seeds and old strands of corn and beans, everything. And they're getting down in their gardens. It's really great.
I'm using all heirloom and organic and everything like that because I want real food. I want to eat real food, and I want to be healthy, and I want that for my family and my community. Really, I'm working now to start community gardens and a whole new approach to hunger relief, which is not just here's some crap that will keep you alive, but here's some real food that will nourish you. So because everybody, it's affecting everybody. Just the ability to afford real food affects everybody at every level. It's not just the ultra poor. They can't.
Right.
Okay.
Well, it's very important. It was a conversation I had with one of the women in France when we started talking about seeds and planting, and suddenly it hit me. And I was just like, well, elders would tell us that we are the sacred seed. I know I sound whatever, but that's how they tell us. And from that moment, I wrote that song right there. I wrote the song called "Sacred Seed," and it came out of the talking about the food, but it's more than food. It's everything. Everything comes from one thing. And we're planted here. So
In America, there's a different approach by the power structure to this celebration of life. So seeing the seed as sacred, planting it in sacred soil, and its growing process being sacred. Instead of that, we get, here's, even like I'm always doing memes about plantain because it's the most useful. It's such a useful weed, but people are killing it with this Roundup, and then that poisons our soil and our water, and then we get sick and we don't have the plantain to help us heal because we killed it with the stuff that's killing us. So, and these companies, they don't have to prove that their products are safe before they put them on the market. It's up to us to prove that they made us sick with it, which is not possible. Legally, it's not possible for regular people to say, hey, look at these studies from, this place and that place, and this proves that you're killing us. And why is it like that? Why is it like that? And, of course, exactly.
Money. We all know that. Money is all it is.
Right. And to keep, in school, in regular
not the circle of life, but the circle of money and death.
Right.
It's a cycle.
Right. Right. Yeah, and in school, kids aren't taught about where their food comes from, so that's another thing I want to get going is an education project, for kids to learn about growing food and where their food comes from, and even, the different, what people don't really even understand what GMOs are. We've been hybridizing plants for years. That's not what GMO is. GMO is adding the the cells of something else to a plant that wouldn't normally be in there. So it's just something totally new, and we don't know how it's going to affect us. But we're seeing that it's not affecting us in a good way. And now we have to prove that they're affecting us to get rid of it? No. They make that impossible to do. So we just have to withdraw in our own way and create our own healthy communities and try to not play the game as much as we can. That's all we can do. So so it's not easy, but it's worth it to create these communities that are resisting these new ways that aren't helping us and hanging on and preserving the old ways and the cultures and the languages and that are, have the stories that tell us how to live.
Right.
Really live. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
so I think what we're going to
rising up, though, doesn't it seem that way? It looks that way to me, at least from what I've seen. I see all kinds of people fighting.
Yeah.
And it's pulling all kinds of people together, whether it's the water or the food, the ground, the earth, everything.
Right.
You've got all kinds of people coming together and saying no more. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all over the world, people are saying no way to fracking. Because they're seeing what's happening to people here. I mean, up in Pennsylvania, people can light their water on fire.
Yeah.
That's proof in itself.
That's a good way to. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and the some states will set it up so it's really hard to find out that those things are going on in your area until it's too late. And your well is already compromised. So I'm 100% behind any sort of resistance to fracking at all because it's really insane. It's the kind of thing that how could this be? And it's not just the money; it's the fact that like my blog says, psychopaths are in charge. They're running things. They're doing things that they're not even considering life as the only reality that we need to consider when we're doing these things, like energy and things. Yep. It never crosses their mind. It's just how can we make the most money?
Right. Yeah.
So, have you also been part of the pipeline resistance? Have you participated in any of that as well?
I ended up going to D.C. The day after it ended. So I didn't realize it was ended then, and I was already locked into something with Eulalie, and because Winona LaDuke had asked us to come up and sing, so we were there for that the closing with her on the earth. I'm not a person who's knowledgeable in how to speak and do all this. That's not my strength. So I end up going to different, wherever they need us, we're there as much as we can be, and that's the best way we can help. I just try to spread awareness, and so it's, it's the same as with the two-row. They asked me to sing with them. When I found out they were paddling, I was just like, wait a minute, I paddle. So I went with them and did at least 150 miles down the Hudson. But what was impressive about it is the way they would stop in each area and talk with the mayors and so forth, and have these gatherings. And so it almost, and then tons of people would come. So it sort of builds a platform for these political leaders, and they already have the support of the people to try and turn things the other way. So in a sense, to me, that looked very, it was the right move in the right direction. And I think you have to be constant, and to really make that noise. And I think little by little things begin to change. So in the public eye, and so it's, I mean
that's really.
Yeah, it's the same
really
with
the way to go.
Indians, and it really is, and everybody sort of coming together to work on something that's to save water and save the land, and the motto they were chanting over and over was like, honor the treaties and protect the land. So I really just totally made sense. So they had in the two wampum as being both two different governments together, traveling together in a river of life. So it's just, supporting the treaty, and they renewed it specifically for environmental preservation. So it was really, the Haudenosaunee they're great. They just are. And I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm glad
very strong community. Very strong communities that movement comes out of, and it, to me, it struck me as very much in touch. And I love the vision of seeing you all paddling, and then the stopping and talking to people, and the gathering and the coming together, and there's so much support. We can't rely on the virtual world to tell us what's really going on. We still have to get out there and experience life and do our part. Looks like we have a caller. Did you want to take a caller?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and put our call through.
Hello?
Is our caller there? Hello.
Melanie, you're on.
I am. You're starting to recognize
Melanie.
my area code all the way
Yes,
over here
we
on
are.
the West Coast. Well, I was just calling in a couple of things. Number one, and this totally sounds really gushy, but really, honestly, Pura Fe, I have to say your music is absolutely beautiful, and I know it comes from a very good place. And I just want to thank you for being a voice out there again for just for everybody, for the purpose of well-being and sharing good things and good feelings with everyone. And it's very strengthening. And I just wanted to throw that out there in the ring and just say thank you for doing it. And I also wanted to say that I didn't realize that you were a singer until Kira started putting stuff up about you a while back, because I was never really around too much upbringing with a lot of the Native culture as far as the music, and so it's so integral to finding and connecting with that culture that I think most people don't realize how integral the music is to the culture of being Native American. And just want to say it's just awesome to be able to connect and hear you doing that and helping other people reach for that, whether they're Native or not, just being able to even just experience it and say, this is the real deal here. And it's not a dead thing. It's a very real and very alive thing. And anyway, I just kind of just wanted to say that and just affirm once again that, what you're doing is really amazing. I know you know that, but it's really amazing for some of us.
Thank you, Melanie. You do learn more. Yeah, you do learn more about Native culture through music and language than than anything else. And in fact, when I've set out to learn native languages, it's always through song that I've learned as much as I have.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's really big.
You know, it was growing up in New York and finding in my mother's record cabinet, I found Buffy St. Marie when I was about 7 or 8, maybe 9 years old. And she was hardcore back then, you know. She still is. But, and all of her messages and so forth. And just, she was my absolute idol. And I was just, you know, so it was, I tell her, you know, that it's like she kind of raised me. She raised me to be a good militant. And I know her now, you know. I never in my life did I think I would know Buffy when I was a kid. So it was quite, and she's really been, she's always praised us and really helped us to, she brought us in, her and Floyd Westerman, they really brought us into, I guess, the mainstream of Indian country. And so, so they, you know, you learn from them, and they sort of laid the ground down. So it's like hand in hand. You're right. It's hand in hand with Native musicians and artists, all of the people that go out. You know, so it's, well, thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I know that your advocacy for women's issues within our own culture, within the Native culture, is also it seems very, very, you know, dear to your heart as well. And I was just wondering, has it always been so? Were you always aware of the specific needs of addressing those issues for a very long time?
Yeah. I think even as a child, I was just born stubborn like this. And I think even as a tiny little person, I was very militant in a sense, because I had really strong reactions to seeing stuff on television as a little person. And so I, you know, it really put me right into a defensive mode and a very prideful mode. Seriously, it really did that to me. So I was always a strange child, going to school in buckskin clothing. And so for me, it was like, I am here, I am really here, and you're not getting rid of me. And and that's the way I was. And my whole family, you know, observed that. And I think my grandparents really, they didn't laugh at that at all. And so I feel, it was my purpose. I came here to be part of my communities and my peoples and what's going on today, blah, blah, blah. But,
Well, I've seen you throw your support with Denise Pictel Maloney and her fight for justice for anime, and I've seen you speak up for women who have they've died from violence from within and from without, and you seem to really throw your support into maintaining some kind of strong sense of, hey, right and wrong. Doesn't matter whether it's from within or from without our tribal culture, but it needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed all the time.
Yeah, totally.
Just want to make sure that it's we can see that, and that I can see that. If I can see that, and I'm not very smart, I can see that, and it makes an impact. So I just want to say thank you for that impact.
Yes, thank you.
I will let you guys go, and just so any other callers can call in. But thank you very much. It's been wonderful to talk with you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Melanie.
All right. Bye.
Okay. So I think the first song that we have, what's the first song that we have loaded up, Swami?
It's Pura's choice. We can run either Four Daughters or Idle No More, whichever one she likes.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you had.
So
you didn't
go
take
ahead.
Sacred Seed. Oh no, I wanted you to play Sacred Seed. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Wow. Yeah, that was the important song.
If somebody
That's all
can
right.
email me that during the show, I can add it and we can run it later.
Okay. Yeah, I sent it to you. That was the first thing I sent. But I can't send it. It's on my phone, and I'm on my phone. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Speaking of phones, Pura, do you have another phone that you could use?
No.
Your quality
No.
is not that good, and there's nothing I can do from here to make it better.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
This is all I have. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Well, it may be. I think those are the two that I got because I got 2 emails from you. So.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what they said. That's what they said on the email. So why don't we just play one, and then afterwards you can tell us what it is. So maybe it's not labeled correctly. Maybe I didn't label it correctly, but just play one, and then you can tell us what it is afterward.
Fantastic. Brothers and sisters, stick around. We're going to take about a 4-minute musical break. This is your opportunity to enjoy the time. This is being played publicly. These are unreleased cuts. And this is also your opportunity to go get a drink or go dispose of a drink or whatever you need to do. And we will meet you right here in 4 minutes on The Bridge.
Together, brothers and sisters, I hold no more.
Brothers and sisters, welcome back to the bridge. This is the big, hairy Swami troll who lives under the bridge and pushes all the buttons. Please say hello again to our lovely host, Kira Young.
Thank you, Swami. So that was obviously Idle No More, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That's from the new album called
that.
Sacred. That song is just an Idle No More song. It's a handgun song that I've entered in contests. But the lyrics, most of those lyrics are written by Carrie Morin, who's part of the Pura Fe trio. And he shot those lyrics to me, and I sort of rearranged them and changed them a bit to fit a handgun song, and actually do the handgun song with the United Project. And there is you go up online on YouTube, you can find the handgun version with the United Project. Yeah, and it's a very different sound, but yeah.
I didn't see Sacred Seed in the songs that you sent, but so I apologize that we didn't get it up for you. But
that's okay.
We can find other ways to share it.
Okay.
So when did you record this version? Recently, right?
It's been almost 2 months ago. I was over in France. And
that was one of the songs you recorded in France.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's the new band there on. That's those guys. And it's hard to sing without all the
Tell us the name again of the new band. Tell us the name of the new band.
It's just Pura Fe. It's just a new.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
It's four of us. Okay. Yeah, it's just it's not the trio anymore, but maybe the quartet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Maybe the Pura Fe quartet now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Well, certainly the Idle No More movement has been stirring, and it's really, when it first started, it was so exciting, and it just spread like wildfire, and it's exciting. I love to see new movements and people getting behind it and really wanting to do what's right for our future generations.
Yeah.
And honoring the treaties and really it's educating people that, because, we learned that Canadians were thinking, that First Nations people were asking for something special or special rights. And no, we're asking for the treaties that we have in place to be honored. And that's the same here in the States as well. All the people are asking for is for the treaties to be honored.
Right.
Which is not something special. It's just, do what you say you're going to do for once. Because they've all been broken. People don't, the average person in America doesn't realize that, or in Canada. And I think this opened a lot of people's eyes, and especially around the world. And it united Indigenous people around the world as well in defense of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I hope that it continues and people can keep their own stuff from getting co-opted, because that always happens too with good movements. They get co-opted by the forces that want to keep things the way they are. So, beautiful song.
Thank you. The first time we sang that with Ulali Project was, during the time of everything that was happening in D.C., and it was filmed, and my friend from the Topway Productions, which I'm a part of, they came down and filmed it, and they put it up on the main Idle No More page. And in one day, it had 14,000 views.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a good, the hand-drum version is killer. With my sister,
okay. Well,
four of us singing together, it works. So, anyway.
Yes. So tell us about the Yoilali project and what's happening with that. Or has been happening.
Well, people keep wanting more Yoilali, and even though it's fizzled out, I grabbed my cousin Jennifer and two younger women from down home, from Robeson County. So they sing their rumps off. They're amazing. It's Charlie Lowry and Layla Rose Lockley. And and I lived in Robeson County for many years. And so I worked with a lot of youth there. And their singing is that's the strength here, is singing in East Carolina throughout these communities. And even the drum groups and the gospel groups. And I mean, you can go on. And the harmony and the singing is just beautiful, and the Longhouse singers.
Yeah.
So I grabbed these girls and said, let's do this. And so the four of us got together for the first time and did a performance at the Giving Center. And so we're going to continue, and we've got more gigs, and we're just going to keep making the music. So eventually I can step away, and it still keeps going. And so you always sort of take a path of just representing the sound from home with our kind of music and the women. So, so that's what that's about. And
there really is nothing like that that singing together that we do as women. It's something special. Yeah. And it's something that got interrupted there for a while. And I'm glad that it's coming back and no longer interrupted. Because we need it. We need it. And people always sing to their babies, but beyond that, we should be able to share our voices in our communities as well, and have a voice. And that's what that singing does. Is it's a spiritual practice too, to sing regularly, and it strengthens you as a person. It has for me. I mean, I completely lost my voice, and then when I started to sing again, it was very hard, but it's made me a stronger person. It makes me a stronger person to continue to sing, and
singing is like praying.
Yeah,
it's connecting.
It is.
Yeah, aligning with
Yeah, we sing our prayers. Yes. Yeah. So, we have a family drum. It's just me and my husband and my son, and sometimes people sing with us because they like the songs that we sing. Started it because we wanted our son to grow up around the drum, and we knew that was the only way that he would, because our community, we're few and far between in where we are here, living among our redneck brothers and sisters. So we knew we'd have to travel. I'm on the border of Virginia and West Virginia, between Winchester, Virginia, and Martinsburg, West Virginia, sort of right in between there. But not a huge Native community around here, so we travel and we do powwows, and we'll definitely be coming down to North Carolina at some point. That's where I was born. I was born in North Carolina. I only remember being a baby there, though.
What part of North Carolina
clearest memory, I was born in Greensboro.
Oh, okay.
In 1969. Yeah. My dad was going to school there, and I do have a memory. I was 2 years old, and I remember being able to barely look above the metal part of the screen door to where you get to the screen. I remember as a baby looking over that. Yeah, that's what I remember of North Carolina. So I need to get back there and connect to where I was born. But we'll be doing that. And it's the other thing that I like that you're doing is you're teaching too, and you're encouraging young people to have a voice and to sing their prayers, and I love that. We need more of that. If I can add that on to what I'm doing, I'll do that too, because it really, that's part of the interruption is the kids don't get to sing, so we've got to keep them singing.
Yeah.
In freedom. Yeah.
Well, on that note, do you mind if I tell you about this other project that's moving through the States?
Oh, please do.
It has to do with, it's a movie that's called Rumble, and it's named after the song Rumble that Link Ray, do you remember Link Ray, the guitar? He was really well known for he put a big dent in American music, and which is that sound he had. Anyway, the movie's called Rumble, and it's done by the film crew called Resolutions. They did the movie called Needle Engines that was about Native people in film. And it's a great documentary. And so now they're doing a new one called Rumble. And they've been traveling all over the States and Canada and collecting interviews and information and archival stuff and from all kinds of people that the movie's basically about Native influence on American music. And so they've done all kinds of growth. There's Derek Trucks is in it, interviewed and talking about several Native musicians. There's Taj Mahal, there's John Trudell, there's Robbie Robertson. It's a large roster of wonderful people in there. And they're coming down here to North Carolina as well, and so they're collecting stuff from different musicians and community singers and so forth, and at the same time gathering history. And so they did a thing on Russell Moore, who's Pima. Do you remember Russell Moore? The trumpet player, a jazz trumpet player. Of course, Jimi Hendrix and Jesse Ed Davis, and it's wonderful. So just showing the influence and how the people have been a part of the making of American music. And there's Joey Harjo, of course, as they talk about Jim Pepper. There's so many. It's a great thing. So I just wanted to let you know. And one of the producers is Stevie Salas. You know Stevie Salas? Pretty well-known Apache guitar. He's a guitarist. He's played with everybody.
Okay.
Pretty much. Anyway, that's what's happening. So it'll come out maybe in another year.
That's exciting. I can't wait for that. When's it going to come out?
Yeah, me neither. I don't know. Probably in another year. I mean, they've been filming for quite some time, and it doesn't look like they're stopping anytime soon. So.
Yeah, there's a lot to film. Such a deep connection there with that music. That's exciting. I can't wait to see that. We will definitely, we'll definitely about that. And you can come back when that comes out, and we'll get it going. That's great. And can you say the name of the other movie that this group did? What was that called?
Real
before Rumble?
Engines. Real Engines.
Real Indians.
Engines. It's like REEL and then INJUNS. So it's, yeah, a clever title. Yeah.
So do you have any other upcoming upcoming performances that you want to tell us about?
Yes, I do, actually. And for me, it's not really a performance, but there's a big honoring for Tom Porter, his Mohawk chief.
Okay.
He's from Akwesasne, and he has his territory in Fonda, New York, Gananja Holege. And they're having, every year he puts on a strawberry festival and to help raise funds for the territory. But this year, the people that are running it, they're having a big honoring for him. And that's going to be in June 27th through June 29th. And they'll have all kinds of performers, and it'll be very beautiful. And he's such a special man.
And where is that going to be at?
Fonda, New York. FONDA.
Okay.
Fonda, New York. So, yeah. So I'll be there with a load of people. We'll be there and to honor Tom. So it should be a very moving experience, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
and they're going to have the Strawberry Festival at the same time.
Well, I mean, it's not like the ceremony Strawberry, fest. It's more like it's during that time of year. So he puts on,
Okay,
like
great. Anything else you want to tell us about?
Let me tell you, what else can I tell you about? No, I don't know. I mean, I'm putting other projects that I personally am working on is just a new canoe album with Deer Clan singers and Eulalie project together. And we're going to be part of film that's coming, Rumble. And we're going to join up with Rhiannon Giddens from the Carolina Chocolate Drops. She's all over the Full Moon Rising album, her banjo and her voice. And she's going to come and join us for a couple of songs for this movie. And we're going to reenact a scene on the old porch. And,
So, as part of this, the filming that you're doing, did you do any filming when you're in France? Are there any videos from that or film?
There's some little video out on the song Sacred Seed. Yeah, it was just a little. Yeah, I wouldn't. It's okay. But
Yeah. Well, yeah, Melanie has put that up underneath the link to the show today.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not. You can't even hear the words. It's not a. Well, whatever. I've learned to accept whatever. So.
Yeah, I know. It's that. I have a lot of trouble with that myself because when we do recordings, they never really sound like when you're actually there in person, and especially when you do filming. And I've done recordings too where, microphones are set up in different spots, and then you have people singing with you, and it's like you want to make sure that if you're singing in native language that everything is pronounced like it really correctly and right, and it's just a lot of pressure. It really is. So yeah, I understand, but I'm glad that you're just like, because people will really love it. They're not going to see the same things that you want to be in there too. They're just going to appreciate it. So
yeah,
I see it from both sides.
Yeah, you can't hear the words at all. That's why I don't like it. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard.
There's got to be something else we can talk about. something good.
Yep, something really. I mean, there's so much going on. So, and plus we should have some callers calling in.
I was hoping they'd call in. There's, I can talk about things in the communities here that are good, that are happening, but
please do. Tell us all about it.
There's the women from the several communities within the Carolinas pretty much, and there's some in Virginia and up the coast, the Algonquin coast going way up. There's a lot of sharing and trading and doing things to strengthen the communities just by strengthening ourselves.
Right.
And so there's a lot of workshops that go on, and most of it is just getting busy with our hands and doing that in circles together, and just the knowledge that's passed while we're doing such things, and and we're getting ready to go out and collect some of our fibers so that we can start weaving. That'll happen in the fall.
What kind of fibers?
Someone was telling us we need to go out and collect dog bane, the Indian hemp. But there's a lot of moss, hanging around, and there's all kinds of stuff. I guess we'll figure it out. In the fall, we have someone from the Nottoway community who's going to come and show us what they know. And I already started weaving already with just yarn, but I'm really looking forward to weaving with hemp and some other things. But what it's done is it's brought women from the different communities together, there's so much that we've lost, and there's so much that is suppressed and has oppressed us from even grabbing and learning what comes from us. And so, and I'm not trying to down on tribal governments, and they're about trying to, funnel monies in to stay alive, but at the same time they have to go through these criteria that sort of cancel out our true cultural identity and our history. And so they don't. We've never learned as a nation and of many nations of our Holocaust, and they've just totally wiped our history. And so it's just it's been very hard. And so in a sense, we're kind of healing, and we're all doing genealogy and just trying to piece together everything from our past. And we see just how interconnected and related everybody is through all the different communities. And it's really brought an awareness, and people are working together finally, and on so many ways, so many levels. And so it has to be grassroots effort. And
and
so that's
local
where
that you can do the most.
Yeah. And in a sense, Facebook has been a great place to network and get together outside the computer world, but to go and do these things. And so some of the things we're trying to bring back is canoeing and lacrosse. And then some places are doing this, but not on a huge grand scale where we can all connect together and do it together. It's just all about cultural preservation and having something good for the kids, because we're losing them very quickly.
Yeah.
And I find that the women are the ones that are really...
Yeah. I was going to say we have 6 acres, so people are welcome to gather here anytime for those kind of activities if a place is needed.
Okay.
So put it out there. And we have a creek, and it's really nice here. It might cost the earth to get internet, but we love it. That's we do. We love it. And ever since we've been here about two years in this one spot, and I just feel really connected. And I'm sure I'll find out something about my family that explains why I'm so connected to this area. But we just ended up here through a series of circumstances. Me and my husband met at a powwow in Oakland, California, in like 1998 or something like that. Yeah, 1997 or 98. And every once in a while we just look at each other and go, can you believe this? I mean, who would have known that we would end up here? And he's always wanted to be a farmer. He's Potawatomi in Northern Cheyenne, and he's always wanted to go back to farming and living off the earth and living with the earth. And so we've been gifted to be able to have this, and so we would definitely love to share it with holding on to what we still have, because it's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, it's wonderful.
Yeah. And I was also going to, prod you a little bit more to talk about the tradition of hemp gathering, and, then we can go into how that was lost, because, it's another, conspiracy by the dark forces in the world to making hemp and illegal, just, shooting ourselves in the foot, but had to be done so the DuPonts and could make their money, and, the oil people and the agrochemical people and the cotton industry and the pharmaceutical industry could all make their money. But if we were, so getting back to those traditional agricultural or gathering, traditional methods of living it's not only an act of resistance, but it's what's going to keep us going, all of us.
Yeah, well, it's a way of life, and it has a way of mind. It's it's a good mind. Yeah, and it's just really, it needs to change because the people are going the opposite way even more and more and more, and they're going to be gone. Yeah, the mind is gone and they're gone. So we have to go back and really. It's not like we don't have our knowledge. The communities here are large and they're strong, but what's governing them is leading them away from the farmers here are really. They're in some ways they should be the ones in the front to help. They should be the ones to be pushing and lifting them up to. If anyone can really help with sovereign rights and so forth, it's the farmers.
Right.
They're everything. They're the seeds. They're everything, and along with the children. So it's just, and the elders and the whole 9 yards. So, yeah, it's the
I
culture.
have a quick story I'd like to share with you, ladies. Whoops.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
This weekend, yesterday, this Swami was in attendance at an all-day seminar given by Mark Passio. And at the after event, Mark and I were standing there talking to a group of people about Jay Parker, who is also a host on the Type 1 radio network. And one of his biggest areas of focus is the fact that cannabis oil cures cancer. And it has been enormously successful. And Mark and I were discussing this, and this man and his lovely wife walked up, and they told us the story of how his wife was cured. He nearly lost her to cancer, and she has been completely cured by cannabis oil. And we are going to be very soon adding him to Jay's show as a regular guest. I'm sure we can book him for your show too, Kira. This guy is now a fully educated and authorized representative of this method of curing human ills using natural means, which the Great Spirit has given us for this purpose, and it works. And we've got their story to tell and what they know. So very much looking forward to getting Tom Edmondson out of Kansas City onto a number of the shows here on Type 1 Radio. But thank you so very much for representing the traditional knowledge of how this simple plant does so much for humanity. I mean, even in the ancient Vedic texts of India, Shiva brought cannabis from the Himalayas to South India and gave it to humanity to use for medicine, for fiber, and for food. So this tradition has been with us for thousands of years. Well, it wasn't fuel at that time, but since it has become. I mean, Henry Ford built a car that ran on hemp fuel.
Yeah.
They can't.
I just made some gluten-free cupcakes where I put the hemp hearts in the middle, and that's supposed to help you out with your joints. You know, the protein in the hemp seed is really, really good for you. And from what I understand, it was the original gruel, the hemp seeds. Please, sir, can I have some more?
Right.
The original gruel.
Well, Tom was telling us they've treated everything under the sun, from stage 4 cancer, people who had been sent home to die by the allopathic system, and they have not yet run into any condition that the utilization of this natural product does not cure.
Well, I need to get them in touch with my stepmother, who is diagnosed.
We need to promote
extremely aggressive form of cancer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pancreatic cancer, everything has been brought completely under control by the proper utilization of cannabis oil. It's got to be 96% pure or higher. It's what back in the day we folks who were abusing substances called hash oil. But now it's utilized for the health aspect, and it takes just less than a drop to begin with. And I mean, he'll give us. He's a fully certified representative of the method of using this. He went to Rick Simpson and his associates, who have brought this out into public view, and he's a wealth of information, and they've done it. I mean, he decided. Here's what he told us. His wife had been diagnosed as terminal, and he quit work. He owns several companies and that, and he said, "Look, I'm not ready to lose you yet." And he gave up everything and started searching the world for what works. And he came upon the cannabis oil, and he went to the folks who were doing it, Rick Simpson and his associates, and got her on it, and it worked. And she's now cancer-free, in good health. And they're the most shiny, happy people. I mean, it was just awesome to see the results of what the Great Spirit has already provided to us.
Yes. That's wonderful. I've seen some miraculous things. When I used to volunteer for hospice out in California when I lived out there, and I saw people with AIDS come in, given a death sentence and walk out of hospice.
Oh, that doesn't happen often.
Being treated with cannabis oil. So I've seen it. So I should talk my stepmother into doing it. But
there are some legalities and issues with obtaining it, and it is pricey because it takes a lot of cannabis buds to process and get the oil. But it's possible.
Yeah.
You know, all it takes is the connections and the friendship agenda of supporting one another with what we know. Each of us has a talent or an ability or knowledge, and if we all bring our piece and put it in the puzzle, we can change the way the world functions now. It doesn't have to be this way.
Right. Yeah, and in some ways it isn't, and it is at the same time. So our little circles that we have, the world isn't that way for us. I mean, it is on the outside, but, you know, one person in one community does make a difference, especially where you are, where you live.
Right.
So, yeah, and it's through the practice of compassion, which we find in every tradition.
I mean, it's what good is it to be a great intellect if you're not sharing it, if you don't care about the brothers and sisters who need the knowledge?
Yeah.
And thank you so very much, Pura, for what you do and everything you've been through in being both a traditionalist and a trailblazer, you know?
Oh, thank you.
See, it's so wonderful to meet such great people who are deeply humble. We don't run into that in the psychopathic communities.
Yeah, we're a bunch of weird psychopathic studiers because my theory and what I'm writing about is right now about anything that you find that's just really doesn't make sense and is just totally messed up in the world is due to, it goes back to psychopaths being in charge of things. And so, and it's also my belief that traditional communities had traditional methods of, you know, ridding the community of such influences. And, you know, so I'm for creating little sites of resistance, you know, and going back to the way of compassion.
Right. Well, that's all it takes is for us to educate one another, assist one another, thereby creating more people who can educate and assist. You know, those who are whose dharma or whose path is to do community involved work for the betterment of humanity will naturally rise into that role once they have the proper knowledge and the support of those of us who know things, you know? Yeah.
And I think that's why traditionally it's all, in Native communities, it's always been taught that, you know, leadership roles are you know, appointed to people by the community. So it's not like the Western model where, you know, you just appoint yourself as whatever you
or
want
you
to
cut
be.
throats and step on people to get into a
Right.
responsibility.
Right. You know, so that's why I've always tried to do the things that I get appointed to, you know. And that's how I ended up doing this radio show. I feel appointed because, you know, I just called in to Thomas Sheridan's show, and then people were like, well, you should have your own show. And I said, okay, how do you do that? And so here we are. And, you know, I can tell you this Swami is most humbly pleased to have had the opportunity to present you with a means to get your word out, you know, and bring those topics which are at your heart and those people that you are in contact with and know about to a wider audience. This little network here, which has grown up around Sonic and this Swami, has now had close to 250,000 listens around the world. Wow. And we never saw this coming. We just decided to do something, you know. We dared to care and take from our time to share with others. And others came along, and each will rise to their own position in the natural way of things. The tribal construct of humanity is what is natural to our system. This whole mass of cities and all that is not natural to the human species. It's not the way we function best,
many small communities that are integrated and holistic is what we do. That's what we do best. And unfortunately, sometimes it takes the very worst of events to bring out the best in humanity.
Mm. Well, I think we've had enough of that. So let's get on the road. Let's get on the road to, our traditional ways of supporting ourselves and our communities. I think it's time for another song.
Yep. We will now take a little 4-minute break. This is Pura Fe and 4 Daughters. We'll see you back here on the bridge in 4 minutes. Brothers and sisters, welcome back to The Bridge, where we are humbled and honored to be in the presence of such a talented woman as Pura Fe. Here's your host, Kira Young.
Thank you, Swami. That was really beautiful. Tell us who else was singing with you.
Jennifer, my cousin from Eulalie, and Rhiannon Giddens from the Carolina Chocolate Drops. That's her on the banjo. I was playing my slide guitar.
Oh, love it.
Yeah, Rhiannon's also Okanichi. She's Okanichi. Some of her family's from Alamance County, where one of my uncles is from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so her the language is in Tudelo, and it's the four daughters, which is it's like a creation. It's a creation story of the four seasons, and four ages of creation in terms of child, adolescence, and adult and elder, along with the four directions, seasons, and the whole 9 yards. Everything fits within all the cycles of life. So that's basically our four directional song. Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to have to get that on when it comes out on iTunes.
No, this song is on iTunes. It should be on there already. This is from the Full Moon. Yeah, this is from an older album called Full Moon Rising. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Full Moon Rising album is the one this song is on. Rhiannon is on a lot of that album, and my cousin Jennifer from Eulalie. So and Deer Clan Singers are on it, and Deer
Clan Singers are too.
Yeah, they're on there,
okay.
And I just grab everyone.
Yeah, come and sing with me.
Okay.
That's what yeah. I love it. Tell us a little more about Deer Clan Singers and what you all are doing.
Well, it's the lead singer for Deer Clan Singers is Dave Locklear, and a lot of people know Dave north and south. He's an amazing vocal. In Tuscarora out of the Prospect Longhouse, and Mark Dees is one of the Deer Clan Singers, also from the Prospect Longhouse. And then there's Chad Locklear, and he's Lumbee. And there's several others that come and go. They come and sit with us. They're all usually from the Prospect Longhouse, like Sam, Pedro, and then, of course, there's my cousin Jennifer, and there's me. There's been some other singers, too. In the album that we did do and put out through Music Maker Relief Foundation, there's probably about 10 of us singing. And it's a beautiful CD. You can find that on iTunes. I think it's called Deers R Us, Deer Clan Singers. And we sing, social dance, Iroquois social dance songs, and canoe songs, and so we'll be putting a canoe album together very soon, and that'll be out probably next year. In the new year, it'll probably be out, and they're trying to revive the old traditions that we have on it with our canoe songs. And just trying to connect everyone again with getting back on the water. And
right.
Yeah. Having our dances again.
Yeah,
everybody's so connected to power so much that it's like they forget about.
Yeah.
Not everybody, I shouldn't say that, but a lot of our young people, they're so into power that they don't. We have to create a stronger base for them to come home and partake in things that are within our traditions and environment. So we figure putting a new album is going to really help that, hopefully.
Yeah, I've often asked people well, I hadn't heard much of the social dance songs until I moved back east, and I really love them. I mean, they really are beautiful, and the dancing, and it's different from what you see, out west. Much different.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're another branch.
The whole long house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another branch. Another limb of the tree. Yeah. And, well, it seems like a nice big resurgence of culture is coming back throughout the East. Like, very strong, actually. It's really nice to see.
Very.
And Iroquois pretty much had their thing always, but in other areas where they were really stomped down on, they're rising up. That's nice. Really good to see. And communities are getting stronger. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that too. Just being here, you can just feel it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I look forward to more of that too.
Yeah. Like waking up.
Are you making? Yes. Are you making? Are you involved in making canoes? And if so, what do you make it out of?
Yeah, the guys just. I can't carve canoes. I can paddle now, but I can't carve a canoe. But some of the men down in Robeson County, they some of the Tuskegee men, they carved they have a brand new cypress canoe, and I think they're going to be working on some poplar ones pretty soon.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's they made them out of cypress and cedar and poplar. Those were So it's happening, it's happening. A lot of this stuff is happening. So
I saw some of the pictures of the canoes on that you had shared when you were paddling those 150 miles.
Those were not. There was just a couple of. Yeah, what was his name? Roger Cook, who made a birch bark canoe. I think he's from Onondaga. Yeah, his canoe, and then there was Hickory Edwards.
Right.
He carved a cedar canoe. He's also from Onondaga, and yeah, those are the only two I think like handmade canoes. Everything else was, everybody had kayaks and store-bought canoes.
Right.
But I think that's the whole effort, is to get everybody to start building their canoes again. And you see up in Mashpee and Narragansett, all up in the Wampanoag territories, they're carving their machoons, they call them. They're making their canoes, and so we're beginning to do that too down this way. So it's
We have a lot of birch that grows like along the creek. So.
Do you really?
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of. It's all white birch all along the creek.
Wow.
For miles. Yeah. So
nice.
Anybody who wants to come and build a birch canoe is welcome to do that as well. Because some of them even just fall over when there's like a big flood, So it's a shame to just leave it there. But sometimes it makes a good bridge or whatever. Yeah. But it's all white birch all along. I've met a couple of people who've made them, but out of birch. So makes sense. They grow right along the water.
Yeah.
So if you hear for the birch,
I'll put the word out. Okay.
Send them my way. We'll get the kids and everything to come and learn about it and we'll do it. Make a whole thing out of it for the kids. Yeah. That
would be awesome.
Yeah. Cool. My son is often, he goes to school, and I've been thinking about homeschooling him at some point, but he's the only child that we have, so I don't want him to get isolated.
Right.
Yeah. But he's sometimes the kids in school in the beginning, they were like, well, where's your bow and arrow and stuff like that. Just really,
God. Yeah.
it was crazy stuff like that. And he's like, what? So he, it's like, I would love for him to be able to experience something like the traditional making of a canoe, things like that. That's why we're here. And the kids around here, too. They need to learn about that. There's a lot of history with this creek, good and bad. It used to be a means of transportation, so that's how all the families that were during the Prohibition, they were making moonshine, and that's how they would get their deliveries, is they'd go down the creek and deliver their moonshine.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a lot of history around here. When we first moved in, the neighbors invited us over for moonshine. And, we don't drink, but we really wanted to try the bear, but we just didn't want to deal with the drunk people. So, we'll be there later. And just didn't show up.
That's funny. Well, my girlfriend's got a funny story about her when she was a kid walking down the road. Her auntie would fill up her little red wagon with, those jugs of moonshine, and she would pull that little wagon down the street in her little gingham dress and her hair in those banana curls, and she'd call out, "Shine, shine." They had this little girl out in the road selling shine. So anyway, that's
my goodness. You gotta make that money. I remember that the husband told me how he used to deliver newspapers so he could go and buy potatoes and, cook them up. You got to do what you got to do. And if you got to sell some shine.
That's funny.
Yeah, our street is named after a fish because this is where they would all gather to. It's not really a street; it's a dirt road, but it still has a name. 20. Sorry, my son. He can't go for 2 hours without some assistance in some areas.
Yes. My
the joy of being a mother.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's great.
I'm still stuck on the shine thing, but sorry. Some family did that. Yeah, my great grandma, she ran moonshine back in the day.
Yeah. It's her tradition,
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's part of the resistance to having our sovereignty taken away from us. It's part of that tradition. Whether you drink or not, that we should still have the freedom to make our own choices. And any type of prohibition, takes that individual sovereignty away from us.
Yeah.
And you were talking before, the tribes, and I keep saying that in order for the tribes to get sovereignty, they have to get off the grid. They have to get all their members off the grid, because as long as they can, freeze people out in the winter or, sweat them out in the summer, we gotta, even tribes, start, of course, with the community, the tribal community, but even members that don't live in the tribal community, there's got to be a way, because a lot of tribes have a lot of money, so there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to. I mean, especially the Potawatomi, they've done everything right. They have trust funds for the kids, and quarterly, a little bit of quarterly money going out. So they've got to be able to, put some solar panels on their, so you can
some kind of high-tech self-sustainability. I agree. It really should be switched over. Well, everything should be, everywhere should be switched over. Whether it's
everyone.
Tribal or not. I mean, it really needs, everybody needs to be, I mean, that's the whole movement, is the fight, is all people switching to life. So we just recently met somebody that's, we're sharing our land so he can garden for his family, and he's going to help us do a hydroelectric project that we're trying to create electricity with the creek to power our things, so we can get inch by inch. We're going to get solar panels too, as we can afford them, to get off the grid, because that's it keeps us from using our energy for creating these new traditional means of living. It keeps us from that, because we're working to pay that bill. We're working, doing other things, community, to pay that bill. And it's not going to get any better, and they're going to keep using fuel sources that really aren't in our long-term best interest to use. So the only way to create individual sovereignties for everyone is to get off the grid. And that's my goal. I mean, I'm putting it out there. That's my goal. Anybody wants to help me with it, I'll teach people how to do it. But we're going to do, because I saw some, I've been reading about, I mean, you really don't need that much materials to hydroelectric, just putting some buckets and things like that into the creek, and when it's really flowing, you can get some electricity off of it. So I love that kind of thing. I wish I had other internet options out here, but they limit your data usage when you have satellite. So only wealthy people get good internet. So if I could find a way to, the rural communities really are getting a raw deal with access to internet. And if you live in a mountain community like I do, I mean, it's not a huge mountain, but it's the Blue Ridge Mountains, so I have to stand on my tippy toes in a certain place in my house to get cell service. So, wow, that's nice.
It's hard. You just got to deal with it. I'd rather be out here.
Yeah. I love it in the mountains. It's so different there than out here on the coast with all the swampy gators and all that stuff. But every time I go up into the mountains, I'm like, wow, it just gives you a nice, you can feel the difference in the air. And the air is so different. It's not as heavy. And it just feels so fresh and clean and beautiful. Beautiful. Yes. Nice.
Yeah. I love it here. It's hard. It's hard not to. It's so beautiful. Yeah. It really.
Well, yesterday
and we see every.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We see everything here from. My husband has like little videos that he's taken of the deer frolicking in the snow right outside our window. And, you know, and like large groups of deer, you know, 15, 20. That's not really large, but it is for, you know, we don't have fencing all around our property. We only put fence on the garden. Because how are they, you know, going to the creek if we put a fence up? So, and they need to get to the creek. So, yeah. So we have that, and we see every kind of bird you can possibly imagine, from hummingbirds to cardinals to wrens to goldfinches, house finches. 4 different types of woodpeckers. The big ones, the affiliated, the red-bellied, and the I think they're called snowy woodpecker or something like downy woodpeckers. And then there's other ones. Yeah, and eagle, egret, both golden and bald eagle. Yeah, egret, blue heron, geese, ducks, everything. And that's every day. And we listen to the frogs singing at night, and and the hummingbirds that come to our flowers and feeders, and it's beautiful. I love it. The more time I can spend in the garden, the happier I am. So that's the life I want to create for myself, instead of, you know, being a secretary for the rest of my life, a secretary with a radio show. I'm trying to get my book published and spend time in my garden and teach other people what I've learned so far and be taught more in the process. So, couple more minutes left. Is there anything else that you wanted to say before we thank you kindly for your time?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. You're invited back anytime, and anytime you need me to spread the word about any of these projects or what you're doing, or just let me know and I'll put it out there.
Okay, thank you so much.
You bet. Next week we're going to have Derek Rose, the Houston Free Thinkers, and Conscious Resistance. And I think we're going to hopefully have some other people from different free thinkers communities around the country. I'm going to thank my listeners and thank our dedicated caller, Melanie, for calling us and consistently having good things to say and spreading the word about this new show, The Bridge, which is about giving voice to people that have good things to share, and coming together in an authentic way and communicating with each other about the good things that are going on in our communities and the things that happen. So thanks to all the listeners, and please join us again next week. And thank you again, Pura Fe, and thank you, Swami, for a wonderful show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you all next week on The Bridge.